Welcome to the Randy Report. I'm Randy Slovacek, your host. I'm also the writer and editor of therandyreport.com, where you can find me every single day on the internet reporting on the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community and its allies. In this week's headlines, today is World AIDS Day. I take a look at where we are in the fight against the epidemic. The top court in the European Union told Poland it has to recognize same-sex marriages performed in other member countries. Wicked star Jonathan Bailey is officially the top-grossing actor of 2025, and the new series Heated Rivalry, following the romance of two gay professional hockey players, is my recommendation for what to watch this week. All that and more in this episode of The Randy Report. Today, December 1st, is World AIDS Day, and for the first time since 1988, the U.S. government will not commemorate its observance. Recognized each year on December 1st, it's a day when people mourn for those we've lost to the disease, express support for the ongoing efforts to end the epidemic, and raise awareness among the general public. However, this year, the U.S. State Department has told employees they should, quote, refrain from publicly promoting World AIDS Day through any communication channels, including social media, media engagements, speeches, or other public-facing messaging, end quote. On this World AIDS Day, folks, the U.S. government will be silent. An email by Secretary of State Marco Rubio told employees that the point of the silence is to cut back on national observances. And yet, so far this year, the White House has issued proclamations for dozens of other observances, including World Intellectual Property Day and National Manufacturing Day. The Trump administration froze foreign aid early in the year, derailing many public health programs dedicated to fighting HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. Modeling studies have suggested that cuts by the United States and other countries could result in 10 million additional HIV infections, including 1 million among children and 3 million additional deaths over the next 5 years. That said, here's a snapshot of where we are in the fight against HIV/AIDS today. According to the World Health Organization, in 2024, an estimated 40.8 million people were living with HIV globally. Approximately 630,000 people died from HIV-related causes in 2024, and an estimated 1.3 million people acquired HIV in 2024. But there's good news. The new PrEP drug, lenacapavir, looks to be a huge game changer. Instead of taking daily pills, people can get an injection every 6 months. Studies show the twice-yearly shot can reduce the transmission of HIV by 96%. The European Court of Justice has issued a ruling that all nations in the European Union must recognize lawful same-sex marriages that were performed in other European Union countries. Previously, a country could refuse to recognize a marriage if it had been performed in another country and did not conform to its own laws. The High Court declared that European Union citizens have a right to, quote, a normal family life, regardless of borders. When people create a family life in a host member state, in particular by virtue of marriage, they must have the certainty to be able to pursue that family life upon returning to their member state of origin. Citizens of the European Union have the right to freedom of movement between the different nations within the Union. The court suggested that this right, as well as the right to respect for private and family life, would be breached if one country could refuse to recognize a lawful marriage from another country. The court added in a press release, quote, member states are therefore required to recognize, for the purpose of the exercise of the rights conferred by EU law, the marital status lawfully acquired in another member state. The case was brought to the High Court on behalf of a Polish couple who had been married in Berlin, Germany, where same-sex marriage is recognized. Years later, when they returned to their home country, they submitted their marriage certificate, printed in German, to the Polish government to be transcribed and recognized in the Polish Civil Register. The Polish government denied their request, as the country does not recognize same-sex marriages. With this new ruling, they will no longer be able to refuse legally. The High Court's decision doesn't require that same-sex marriages be legalized by all European Union nations, only that the marriages conducted in other EU countries be recognized, regardless of the citizenship of the people involved. Of the 27 EU member states, only 18 have legalized same-sex marriage. What to watch? HBO's highly anticipated Heated Rivalry is finally here. A sexy, funny love story between two closeted professional hockey players who can't resist each other despite being fierce rivals on the ice. The pilot introduces us to Shane Hollander, played by Hudson Williams, a teenage Canadian hockey savant trying to live up to expectations of hockey-obsessed fans and his demanding parents. Then there's Ilya Rozanov, played by Connor Story, a cocky Russian with top-shelf skills on the ice to back up his swagger. The first two episodes move quickly, featuring multiple time jumps as the two athletes cross paths at various games, cities, and events. In between, we watch the hockey stars cope with their own personal speed bumps at home over a years-long journey of love, denial, and self-discovery. Along the way, Shane flips from confident to bashful in short order, clearly thrown by the Russians' unexpected advances. And Ilya serves up a teasing smirk coupled with a light-touch tease as the storytelling heads towards a classic enemies-to-lovers dynamic. I have to say, the physicality of the sex scenes is pretty off the charts, especially considering this is on HBO Max. The bare booty shots are bountiful as our boys explore their spicy chemistry behind closed doors. The first two episodes of Heated Rivalry are available now on HBO Max. New installments of the 6-episode season will debut weekly leading up to the finale on December 26th. I definitely recommend. And finally, Jonathan Bailey is officially the highest-grossing actor of 2025 after his two blockbuster hits scored huge at the box office. The out actor soared to the #1 spot after Wicked for Good scored over $226 million worldwide in its opening weekend. Bailey's other 2025 blockbuster, Jurassic World Rebirth, has earned over $870 million worldwide since its July release, making it the fourth highest-grossing film of the year. And what makes this achievement even more impressive is that Jonathan Bailey did this with just 2 films. And he was named People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive for 2025. Good times for Jonathan Bailey. And that brings me to the end of this episode of The Randy Report. If you enjoy catching up on LGBTQ news in a quick podcast, I'd appreciate it if you'd share it with your friends. And make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I like to think of The Randy Report as the 60 minutes of gay news, only shorter. And remember, you can find me every single day on the internet at therandyreport.com, where I cover the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community and its allies. Thanks for listening, folks. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.